Welcome to Giants Stadium in the Meadowlands for today's interconference battle between the 2-6 Green Bay Packers and the 4-4 New York Jets. And good afternoon, everyone. I'm James Brown. Well, for the last several years, the New York area has had one dominant team, the Giants. But with the resurgence of the Jets, the Big Apple can once again lay claim to being a two-team football city, and the name New York, New York is most appropriate. Our partner is Randy Cross. And Randy, although the Jets are playing only .500 football right now, their fans already have them in the playoffs.
Well, the fans, the press, everybody. But Bruce Coslett has his team focused, and they spent their off week last week beating up on each other, getting back to basics, really focusing on what they need to do in the second half of the year. And they really realize that talent-wise, they are not a great team. What they are is a team that has to play at the top of their game and plays well together.
Despite Green Bay's 27-0 spanking of Tampa Bay last weekend, to see the face of quarterback Don Majkowski yesterday, as we did, was to see nothing but frustration.
The main frustration for Majkowski is he is the leading rusher. 108 yards in 8 games. They do not have a rushing team. To make it worse, he's the second most sacked quarterback in the NFL. Two keys for the Packers today. Number one, they must get positive yardage on first down. And number two, they've got to stop getting the offensive penalties that have killed them all year long.
Jets, coming off of a bye week, have won the coin toss. Chris Jackie kicking off for the Packers. And for the Jets, Terrence Mathis from his own 5. And Mathis with an excellent return across the 30 to the 31. Finally dropped by Scott Stephen. So the Jets will start off with good field position. Ken O'Brien, 9th-year quarterback out of Cal Davis, will be at the helm. And the front wall, Criswell, Haight, Sweeney, White, Irv Eatman, tight end Chris Dressel. The backs, Blair Thomas and Brad Baxter. The wide receivers, Al Toon and Rob Moore. The Jets hoping to get more on the ground game than they have in the last 3 weeks. They dropped off about 30 yards from the first 4 weeks. Blair Thomas in motion. O'Brien looking for more. Incomplete. Defended by Jerry Holmes.
And the Jets going to test that defense of the Packers early, trying to get the ball downfield to Moore. And for the defense of the Packers, he's not a starter, but Bryce Pop's very key today to get after O'Brien. The guys up front, they're pluggers, they're stickers. They're two gappers that like to stop the run. The linebackers, keep an eye on the inside duo of Brian Noble and Johnny Holland. They'll be tested early inside by this Jets offensive line. And real contrast in the secondary. Hitters and Cecil and Murphy, Holmes and Butler are corners that will be highly tested by Toon and Moore today.
2nd and 10. Blair Thomas in near side as a wide receiver. The ball thrown in the direction of Blair Thomas, but he slipped on the turf. So to bring up a 3rd and 10. And Randy, it's quite apparent that New York going right at their ex-player, Jerry Holmes.
Well, they're going to go after Holmes. You're guaranteed to do that only because Holmes is an older cornerback, and he's in a defense, I think, that lends itself for him being tested in Hank Bullough's defense here.
Bruce Coslett in his 2nd year as head coach here. Players absolutely love everything about him, including the practice sessions, which are shorter.
And so far, Coslett's team has looked a little rusty. 1 trip and 1 ball thrown behind the receiver for O'Brien.
6 defensive backs for the Packers. Jets out of the shotgun. O'Brien throws it complete, and he has enough for the first down. So Ken O'Brien answering the charge with that 12-yard pass play to Al Toon. And Al Toon now
85 games in a row, James. He's got a catch in the thing. He's 1 catch away from Mickey Schuler's 86, which is the record here in New York.
Not as much the big play man as he used to be here, Randy.
Not at all. His per catch average is way down. The man, the big play guy now is Moore. Toon is now more of a possession type 3rd down receiver.
1st and 10 from the 42, just underway. Opening drive for the Jets. And the handoff to Thomas. Looking for some daylight, finds none, and is dropped for a loss of about 3. And give the credit to Johnny Holland, the 5th-year player out of Texas A&M.
This Green Bay defense, per rush, is the best run defense in the NFL. And you see a little reason why. They know their responsibilities. They know where they're supposed to be. Thomas has absolutely nowhere to go. A real key for these Packers, though, is on the throwing situations. They can be a tough defense against the pass, but only if Bryce Pop and company can get pressure on the quarterback. Otherwise, look for big plays by the pass from the Jets.
Bryce Pop into the game for the Packers. Scott Stephen out. 2nd and 13 for the Jets. Ball at the 39. Inside handoff to Thomas. And Thomas picks up maybe 4. Robert Brown on the tackle. We'll call it a 5-yard regain by Blair Thomas.
I talked about the 2-gapping. Watch right here. Watch right here. Watch the way these guys play the offensive players. They give Thomas absolutely nowhere to go. Brown and Tony Bennett keep perfect responsibility in relation to the runner and the offensive player. That's fine defense by the Packers.
3rd and 7. Mathis in motion. To Thomas. Incomplete. So the Jets will punt this one away. Burnell Dent providing the coverage. The inside backer for the Packers.
Let's keep an eye on Fraze. Number 91 will be doing the deep snapping here in the punts for the Jets. Trevor Maddich on the inactive list today.
And Fraze, while he has long snaps in practice, this is his first game situation.
You know, being a defensive guy in this situation could be a disadvantage. He'd want to oversnap it, I think, be a little too aggressive.
Louis Aguiar has to take it off the turf and does a magnificent job to get rid of it. An excellent punt. And Vi Sikahema, starting from his own 8, picks up 2 yards, a 47-yard punt after a bad snap. We'll call it a 3-yard run.
Well, here in the NFL, naturally, it's illegal to hit the kicker. But once this ball hits the turf right here, that kicker is fair meat. You can hit him and do whatever you want to him. And that is not illegal contact by Leroy Butler.
And guess who was down on the tackle for the Jets? Wide receiver Terrence Mathis. Excellent special teamwork.
The deep snapper, look at him shaking his head. He knows he almost cost his team a big play with that snap. That's going to be a factor because from now on, the Packers are going to come after this young guy, and they're going to really test his cool.
Excellent punt coverage as the Packers starting 1st and 10 at their own 12. Out of the I formation. On the ground. And no gain on the play as Green Bay trying to open up on the ground with Darrell Thompson. Don Mikowski, 5th-year quarterback out of Virginia. Mr. Frustration right now. The front line, Lewis Cheek, Rich Moran, James Campen, Ron Hallstrom, Tony Mandrich, and Ed West at tight end. Woodside and Thompson the backs. Charles Wilson starting in place of Perry Kemp along with Sterling Sharp. Sterling Sharp's to the near side. 2nd and 10. 2 tight end formation for the Packers. Mikowski throws it incomplete in the direction of Sterling Sharp, who was being defended by James Hasty.
And the highlight of this Jets defense is the guys up front and having a great year so far. Marvin Washington tested today against Tony Mandrich. Dennis Byrd, last year 13.5 sacks, only 2 so far this season. The linebackers, a steady group. Good rookie on the outside, Mo Lewis. And the cornerbacks will be tested today with Brendan Hasty, seeing a lot of action specifically from Sterling Sharp.
And here's the situation the defense lost. 3rd and 10. Corner blitz. Incomplete to Sharp, who had it and dropped it. And Don Mikowski getting up slow after being hit, which is one of his major complaints, Randy.
Well, you talk about Ken O'Brien here in New York taking a beating. I mean, right now, Mikowski doesn't even care enough to fix his jersey coming off the field. All he's thinking about is this is going to be a long day facing this team, because you know Pete Carroll, the defensive coordinator for the Jets, is going to send everybody he can to try to intimidate Don Mikowski.
Paul McJulian, who's punted more than anyone in the NFL, punting off to Terrence Mathis. Mathis standing back at his own 47. An excellent punt by McJulian, and Mathis fair catches it at the 47. So McJulian as he's been doing all season long. An excellent punt. Jets ball when we back.
And Don Mikowski was a little beaten up. Look at his right hand. See him checking that thing out? Tom Zach is also warming up right now, the backup quarterback, so we could see him early.
Blair Thomas on the ground for the Jets on 1st and 10 as he goes across midfield into Packers territory.
As you see Mikowski squeezing that little piece of cloth there, trying to get some feeling. It looks back in the hand. Watch Washington coming out of the left part of the screen here on the blitz, blitzing out of the slot. Mikowski follows through, and from that replay would appear to have banged his hand against the helmet.
A gain of 5 on that last play by Thomas brings up a 2nd and 5. Play action. O'Brien looking for Toon, has him complete inside the 25 to about the 24 of Green Bay. Defender was Chuck Cecil. A 21-yard pass play from O'Brien to Toon.
A nice example of the new role of Toon in this offense. Rob Moore streaking up the field to clear things out, and Toon drags right underneath him about 20 yards down the field, right in between that zone. Look at the DBs in the back. DBs are behind him. Linebackers are in front of him, and O'Brien does a fine job of lobbing it perfectly into the crease in the zone.
1st and 10 from the 25. Baxter. An excellent run by Baxter of 8 yards will bring up a 2nd and 2.
What these Green Bay Packer defenders we said do well, they get in their responsibilities. They take care of their gaps. Look at a fine job by the Jets line. Look at that hole open up in the middle. Good job there by Sweeney and Haight, the left guard, really opening up that gap.
9:30 left in the first quarter. Play, no score. Jets 2nd possession and driving. The pitch to Thomas. Has the first down and a couple. Chuck Cecil on the tackle. Blair Thomas reacting to criticism, Randy, that he has been running tentatively and juking before making a move, out to disprove folks here.
Well, I think until he hears that from Bruce Cotlett or anybody else within the organization, he won't worry much about it, because he's the one that's been running the ball so well at Penn State and here early in his career with the Jets.
Ball at the 13 of Green Bay. 1st and 10. Play action. O'Brien with a lot of time. Throws it incomplete. Intended receiver was Blair Thomas. And the 22nd running of the New York City Marathon today was run. Finally over. Salvatore Garcia of Mexico, the winner, 2:09:27. And Liz McColgan wins the women's race. The race, of course, through all 5 boroughs here in New York on a gorgeous day.
2 hours and 9 minutes?
That's cooking.
You can't drive 26 miles in New York in 2 hours and 9 minutes.
2nd and 10. O'Brien throws it incomplete. Was hoping to find Rob Moore, who was open, but overthrew him. Will bring up a 3rd and 10.
Smart play by O'Brien there, because this Hank Bullock coached defense for the Green Bay Packers down here in the +20 area don't make very many mistakes. They don't give up the easy play. And the Jets inside, it's a touchdown percentage. That's kind of a pet peeve of mine when you read all about the red zone and how often you score. You know, there's only one team in the league that can afford to kick field goals down here, and that's the New Orleans Saints because of their defense. I think everybody else, they should score touchdowns.
3rd and 10 from the 12. O'Brien, not known as a scrambler, throws it away well over the head of Terrence Mathis. And there is a flag on the far side of the field.
That's in that area of the alignment. Somebody either lined up in the backfield or not enough guys on the line.
Tom White is our referee today. Randy, we were reading those results from the New York City Marathon, and McColgan is actually from Scotland. I think we had the USA chyron there.
You ever notice, James, you watch those races, or if you're...
Pass interference, number 87 offense. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
But you're watching those races and see people jogging, they're never smiling. How can that be a sport? That's torture. It's torture if you're not smiling. People enjoy playing golf. They smile when they do that.
It's torture if you're not in shape.
And you're not seeing Bruce Coslett smile too much because of that pick. Burkett ran right through both defensive backs.
So Lee will attempt a 30-yard field goal. And it's good. So the Jets hit the scoreboard first with 8:27 left in the first quarter of play. They lead it by a field goal. Nothing. 8:27 left in the first period of play. James Brown along with Randy Cross. And talk about night and day in the offensive comparison categories.
What a difference Bruce Coslett's made here in New York. But boy, those Packers. And a lot of that just simply has to do with their offensive line. Their offensive line, not only can it not run block so far in 91, it's been really porous to the pass rush.
Compounding matters. Green Bay has not scored an offensive touchdown in the first quarter this year. From the 5. And smashed Charles Wilson.
Stop was made by Mike Brett.
So Wilson gets it up across the 20. An 18-yard return by Wilson as Don Mikowski comes back on. Randy, he was so candid with us. He said his offensive series most often have him looking around for a flag on the field.
He says every time something good happens, I start looking to my right and my left and behind me, just checking for a flag. And he's absolutely right. One of the greatest, quickest cures for this Green Bay Packer offense would be not to be 1st and 20, 2nd and 20, 3rd and 15. And they've seen those situations innumerable times.
You don't work on those situations too much in practice, huh? 1st and 10 from the 24. The Packers. Play action. Mikowski has to get rid of it quickly as 2 Jets plastering him to the turf. Marvin Washington and Jeff Laugeman. Laugeman, an ex-teammate of Mikowski's at the University of Virginia.
Okay, you be a defender. You're playing a team that can't run the ball. You're going to buy the run fake? The Jets don't. He doesn't get much blocking either up front for poor Mikowski, and he has to throw that one away where there isn't anybody. There's big Jeff Laugeman. The Packers are intending on keeping a receiver or a running back in on 3rd down situations just because of the good pass rush he's gotten this year.
Ed West and Jackie Harris, the 2 tight ends in this formation for the Packers. 2nd and 10. Ball at the 24. And straight ahead, but only for 1 yard go the Packers. Darrell Thompson was looked to be somewhat of a savior for the Packers running game, but he hasn't been able to generate much either.
And it's very tough for a young running back. Well, there's Mercereau heading into the sideline limping a little bit. This was his first game back after missing a couple weeks.
And the Jets have 7 defensive backs in. Ryan Washington, the man showing blitz. 3rd and 9. And Mikowski throws it complete. But it's going to be shy of the 1st down by a couple of inches, Randy. Well, depending upon the mark.
It doesn't look like it, James. I think it's right at the mark.
There's Mercereau.
That's too bad he banged up that knee. It's a very unique hairstyle he's got there, that beaver pelt look.
Beaver pelt look.
Well, Fess Parker used to wear something like that, and Davy Crockett, but it was a hat.
I guess you must be good friends with him. Charles Wilson on the reception that time, and it is, in fact, a 1st down. 1st and 10 for the Pack. 6:48 left in the first quarter of play. And Mikowski throws it incomplete, and again had to get rid of it. A heated rush by both Washington and Laugeman again. The intended receiver was Keith Woodside.
Well, good, well-documented case of no love lost between Jeff Laugeman and Mikowski, who were at Virginia at the same time. And we talked about Lagerman. They're going to try to help out a little bit with Lagerman coming on the left side, working against Lewis Cheeks. Well, he freezes Cheeks and runs right around him. Whoa, Washington got him low. Ooh, Lagerman gets him high. Mikowski can count on that for the better part of the day.
2nd and 10 from the 35. Harris in motion. Mikowski. Smash. Sack. Jeff Lagerman. And they actually ruled that one incomplete. 5th. That certainly won't make Mikowski feel any better.
And that play does what the Packers didn't want to have happen, and that's for this crowd to get into the game. Here's Lagerman, 56, working from the left side of the screen here against Cheeks. This is just pure speed as Cheeks goes for the cut, which is a desperation move. Good athletic move by Jeff Lagerman.
And we saw Mikowski get rid of the ball, so nullify the sack. Complete for the first down to Wilson. And Wilson laterals it. And Vince Workman takes it up to the 40 of the Jets.
You know, James, I couldn't tell if that was a lateral or the defender came in and poked the ball out and it just shot backwards.
Now, you know what Wilson's going to say. It's a lateral.
Oh, of course. Of course. And he'll want the extra yardage, too, because it was his idea. Mikowski was getting good protection that time for probably the first time today. And that was knocked out very well by McMillan. Headsy veteran move by McMillan. But Workman, see, earlier in the year for the Green Bay Packers, there wouldn't be a Packer there to catch that ball.
And the net effect, 25 yards gained on the play. Great defensive play. Thompson. And good hard running by Thompson for a 5-yard gain up to the 35 of the Jets. Will bring up a 2nd and 5. Thompson, the second-year running back out of Minnesota, 6 feet, 227 pounds, hoping to give the Pack a push to that anemic running game.
Well, as O.J. Simpson proved early in his career in Buffalo before they got him an offensive line, running backs can't do it by themselves. And unless he gets the blocking, he really does not deserve the rap he's getting in Green Bay about being hesitant and not running well. I mean, nobody runs well running into a wall, and that's what he's faced all year so far.
2nd and 5. Delayed handoff to Thompson, and Thompson, no gain on the play as he's tripped up by Paul Fraze.
Well, early in the game here, the Packers have run a couple of quick draws. They have not been successful, but I think one of the reasons behind those quick draws is Lindy Infante will be able to play action pass off the draw. He'll be able to get the hesitation with a fake draw that he won't get with a fake run, because those linebackers will hesitate just for a split second. There's Lindy with the Green Bay Packer hat on there, checking out his playlist.
On 3rd and 5, 7 defensive backs by the Jets again. Incomplete. Perry Kemp could not hold on to the ball.
No signal so far. Okay, they're going to rule that incomplete.
I think the whistles were drowned out with the crowd cheering here.
Well, the line judge and the umpire were both sort of standing there looking at each other, couldn't decide what they were going to do. We'll have a look here at the contact that was made and whether or not that was a catch. Remember, 2 feet on the ground. Yeah, I guess not. I don't know. Inconclusive, let's say. On our replay, no catch.
In slow motion, it looked good. Now Jackie will attempt a 53-yard field goal. His season long is 45. He does have a 53-yard completion, that coming last year against the Rams.
The wind is no factor, and he's got the length.
And it's good. So Chris Jackie ties his career best with a 53-yarder, knotting the game at 3-all.
want that tape job to really be effective, you tape it right down to the skin. You don't put that pro wrap under there. That's lazy. Get it on the skin. Rips all the hair out, gets a little skin off with it at the end of the game, and you step in the shower and you start screaming. People look at you like you're nuts. What's wrong with you?
You're such a sensitive guy, Randy.
Tape it down.
Terrence Mathis, 3 yards deep, decides to down it. Touchback, so the Jets will operate from their own 20. 10 plays, 41 yards, culminating in a 53-yard field goal. Now, I mentioned before that Chris Jackie had one last year against the Rams, and that 53-yarder ties Jan Stenerud, of course, who had the same length for the Packers as well.
See Lindy and Fonny huddling there with Charlie Davis, his offensive line coach. No doubt they're trying to figure out, look, these guys are moving Loggeman all over the field. How are we going to deal with it? With Willie Pete, the running back coach, getting his 2 cents in, too.
First and 10 from the 20. 3:50 left in the first half. Make that the first quarter play.
A little early motion.
Flags everywhere.
False start. 69 offense. 5 yards. Still first down. Movement prior to the snap.
A full house here at Giant Stadium in the Meadowlands. On hand to cheer on the Jets. All tied with the Packers, 3 apiece. 3:50 left in the first quarter of play. And the Jets coming off of a bye week. The one concern that Bruce Conklin had, whether or not they would have a little ring rust. First and 15. Thomas hit hard that time by Johnny Holland and stood up. A gain of only 1. And Johnny Holland, we had a pleasant conversation with him, the 5th-year player out of Texas A&M. Randy, I think he qualifies for what you said before is country strong.
Oh, that's right. He's one of the many players in the NFL. It seems you read these bios, another former quarterback. Went to Texas A&M as a Texas high school all-state quarterback. He said, you know how long it lasted? About 1 day and 6 hours. Coach took one look at me and said, you're a safety. Because that experiment lasted about 3 weeks. The linebacker was the only place I could go.
He's hitting hard at linebacker. 2nd and 14. O'Brien looking back with a lot of time and finally throws it complete for the first down. And give a lot of credit to that offensive line of O'Brien. Plenty of time to find Al Toon. A 15-yard gain.
And 2 new additions to the offensive line at right tackle. Miller's in there and Cadigan's back in at left guard. Bruce calls it City to get the time. And look at the job they're doing. The Packers are only rushing 3 people now, understand, so that's 3 against 5, and that's what should happen when only 3 guys rush the quarterback.
3 catches for 47 yards in the first quarter for Al Toon.
Probably the biggest improvement in this Jets team has been that group right there since Bruce Coslet's been here in New York.
Flags on the play, stopping the play.
False start. Right side of the offensive line. 5 yards. Prior to the snap. Still first down.
That right side consists of Dwayne White, Irv Eatman, and Chris Dressel. Brett Miller.
Big Brett's been a little rusty. Hasn't got an awful lot of playing time in there early here at right tackle. One of the NFL's strongest guys right there, number 72. He's in that arm wrestling competition every single year, and he's always right up near the top.
In place of a pretty strong guy right now, Irv Eatman. First and 15 from the 26. Baxter. And Baxter running ahead to the 30 for a gain of 4.
We talked about this offensive line being as strong as it is, and one of the strongest is the big guy, number 67 right here, White, working against Brian Noble. Watch him pound into Noble, 91, but a fine job by Noble, coming off the block and making the tackle. Just keep an eye on that whole group all day long. If they wear out, that's where the Packers will wear out, in the pounding up front.
Sean Patterson in place of Robert Brown for the Packers. 2nd and 11. Play action. And O'Brien sacked by Brian Noble. Noble came into the game with a half a sack credit. Make it 1.5 now.
And this is one of the things we refer to as a check blitz. You know, you hear that term all the time. You know what that means? That means he's going to check, and if the guy doesn't go out in the pass pattern, the back's blocking, he reads that, here he comes. No pass to the back, I'm coming. And Ken O'Brien said, you know, play action passes, if I get sacked, it's my responsibility. I've got to sell them on the fact that it's a run.
He's got a 3rd and 25, but penalty flags will stop the play here. But not before Leroy Butler gets a free shot in on Al Toon. And this is going to be against the Jets, pushing them back even further.
Ball start. Number 72 offense. Moving prior to the snap. 5 yards. Still 3rd down.
And that's Brett Miller.
And Bruce Coslin's experimenting a little with Miller here at right tackle for Eatman. And Cadigan back at left guard. It's the quickest way to get yourself out during an experiment is to start jumping off sides and making mistakes.
Ball pushed back to the 11, making it 3rd and 30. 46 seconds left in the first quarter played, and Thomas picks up exactly 2 yards on a play. Lester Archambault in on the tackle.
Remember we talked about after Lagerman's hit on Mikowski that the crowd was a huge factor for Bruce Coslin. Look at him screaming at his guys. Keep an eye on this guy. He's going to get that whole offense over to the sideline, and he's going to start doing a little chewing here early because the Jets are not good enough to think they can out-talent the Green Bay Packers. They have got to play at the top of their game, and right now they're making the mistakes, and the Packers aren't.
Louis Aguiar, another low snap, and he does a good job again of getting it away. By Sikahema from the 49 and gets it up to about the 45. Chris Burkett on the tackle. And that's the end of the first quarter with the score. Green Bay and New York all tied up at 3 apiece.
But it really isn't fit for a family.
And there's Paul Frazier. You pointed out at the top of the game. Watch him.
Another low snap. It will be a factor because they're coming after Frazier and testing him a lot.
1st and 10 for the Packers. Ball at the 45 of New York. And Mikowski under pressure again. Throwing on the run, the flag on the play. And I tell you, the flag was thrown in the area where Rich Moran was. I don't know if that was holding or not.
Well, if it wasn't, it's missing a heck of an opportunity. And that definitely is holding because you get in a situation like that where your quarterback's in trouble, offensive linemen are bound to do just about anything.
Holding. 57 offense. 10 yards. Still 1st down.
Isn't it amazing what body language does, though, James? You can sit up here or watch it at home, and you can tell immediately which one of those 5 guys it was that got the penalty because he's the one closest to the ref protesting.
Rich Moran, 7th-year player out of San Diego State, will make it 1st and 20 for the Pack, and this is exactly what Mikowski was complaining about yesterday in talking with us.
The mistakes that kill him. Don says it's 1st and 20. What do you call? What do you practice? You run a run so it can be 2nd and 19.
And he's got 4 wide receivers in. Flag on a play and another drop ball. This one by Wilson.
And another holding penalty on the Packer line. We're looking at 1st and 30, I think.
Maybe Tony Mandarich. You know, Charles Wilson got his first start.
Illegal use of the hands to the head. Number 65 offense.
It's Ron Hallstrom. Charles Wilson got his first start last week in place of Perry Kemp, and I don't know if you want to call it jitters or not, but he dropped the first pass thrown his way.
Illegal use of the hands to the head at the face mask. Number 65 offense. 10 yards. Still 1st down.
You know, sometimes those offensive linemen miss when they go to punch, and that hand goes up in the face mask, and a little nasal massage goes on there, and they tend to throw a little flag on that every once in a while. But you know, watch just to the right of White here, the ref with a white hat. Right there. See that? Hallstrom, 65, clearly had that hand all in Paul Frazier's face.
1st and 30. Ball back at the 35 of Green Bay now. And Mikowski throws it to Workman. And Workman is stopped solid at about the 46-yard line. So they pick back up 11 of those 30 yards. Tony Stargell with the hit.
You know, always enjoy, James, when you show a shot of the head coach on the sideline. It's 1st and 30, and he's looking down at his list. That is complete malarkey.
Nothing.
There is nothing on that list that they prepare for that says 1st and 30.
Nor anything down there for 2nd and 19.
And there's the sheet we were talking about, Lindy and Fonnie checking. He's just faking you out there, folks. He's pretending there's something on that list for 2nd and 19. They want to get about half of it here. They're not going to get greedy. They need 9 to 10 yards.
And Mikowski gets rid of it to Workman again. And Workman has the first down. No, take that. He's back to the original line of scrimmage. Tackle from behind by Paul Fraze. So Workman does not get the first down. He does pick up 12 on the play. Let's check in with Greg Gumbel.
All right, JB, in Chicago, Eric Kramer starting for the injured Rodney Peete to Brett Perryman, 10 yards and a touchdown. And the Lions lead the Bears 7-3 in the 2nd quarter. Let's go back to the Meadowlands. JB and Randy.
All right, Greg, a battle for first place in the Central Division between the Lions and the Bears. 3rd and 6 here. And complete to Sterling Sharp for the first down. Inside the 30 of New York. Don Boyd Odegaard on the tackle, 14-yard pass play from Mikowski to Sharp.
You know, we talked about, James, at the beginning of this game, the pressure the Jets were getting on Don Mikowski with just 4 rushers. Look at the pressure they're not getting on Don Mikowski, and look at the body language and the difference in the confidence he stands back there with and just drills that thing out. Let's see one more time, a little ISO on Sterling Sharp, number 84. Very physical, extremely strong receiver. Odegaard doesn't make that tackle. It could have been 6 for the Packers.
Sharp will be pleased that he caught that pass, keeping the streak alive now, 48 consecutive games with at least 1 pass. And this is Woodside. And Woodside not much doing there. A gain of 1 on the play.
And from a psychological standpoint, a big boost for an offensive team. You make 2 bad mistakes, you get yourself in 1st and 30, and you're steadily backing up towards the tunnel, towards your own locker room on the field. And now they come back, they get a first down, they're easily within Jackie's field goal range. Good time right now to go for a shot. 2nd and 9, go into the end zone, go for 6.
Ball at the 26 of New York, 12:08 left in the first half of play, all tied at 3 apiece. And Mikowski being chased by Lagerman, trying to outrun him and dragged down from behind. And a loss of 4 on the play, and that is the sack that Lagerman was looking for. He's got 5 on the season now.
There's big Jeff Lagerman. I mean, it looks like, I wonder if he's got Gastineau's locker in the Jets locker room. I think the ghost, the possession of the locker room has taken over his hairstyles. But watch Lagerman and his persistence. Gets trapped all the way inside, gives up that ground to Mikowski. Mikowski knows right now, folks, he ain't going to get away from Lagerman. And remember, that is a big man. That's a guy that's 6'5", 270 pounds chasing that guy down.
3rd and 13.
Crowd's back in it.
Hand off to Workman. And Workman is going to be about 6 yards shy of the first down. R.J. Kors on the tackle. And that 5th sack by Jeff Lagerman, a career high for him. He's got 5.
And that'll set up, James, 41, 42-yard field goal. A draw in that situation on 3rd and 13. Were they trying to set up their field goal team? I mean, if you are, you got to move it more towards the middle of the field if you're trying to set up a field goal. I don't understand. Tie game this early, why you don't throw the ball in that situation.
So Chris Jackie has already tied a career high with a 53-yarder. This will be a 42-yarder. And for him, a chip shot. So it's been a battle of the kickers. Green Bay right now on top by 3.
And Gladys.
Let's take a look at Green Bay leading in the passing yards category. Rushing yards, New York, not particularly exorbitant. Chris Jackie, a 53-yard career-tying field goal, and Mikowski And I just mentioned to you during the commercial break that Mikowski's still under some pressure, but you said that's a given.
The offensive line is going to get some pressure put on Mikowski, but the line's doing the good job when they really need to do it right now. The biggest difference is, hey, these Jets have had a week off, and they really look it. Right now, they look rusty, and they look a little uninspired. They've got to remember what Kozlik keeps telling them. Hey, guys, you're not that good. You've got to be ready to play every week.
You said also that you expected a close game.
It's going to be a real close game. I think Green Bay's defense is too good.
Mathis from his own one. And Mathis has got a seam. Terrence Mathis up near midfield before being stopped by the kicker, Chris Jackie. A 50-yard punt and a 49-yard return. Make that a kickoff and an excellent return.
And there's very few things that get a team fired up quicker than a big play on special teams. Mathis not only making tackles on punts and everything else, gets a big return here. And you hesitate to call that a tackle by Jackie. He happened to be a stumbling block.
From midfield. And Thomas ahead for 4. Will bring up a 2nd and 6. Ball will be spotted at about the 46. Stay tuned for doubleheader game 2 when you'll see either the Saints and the Rams or the Cardinals and the Cowboys, except for those of you here in the New York area. Rams or Cardinals, they'll both be taking on some good action there. Saints and the Rams. I tell you, New Orleans certainly has to look out. I mean, the Rams, you can't get any lower than this, Randy.
Well, the Rams aren't going to play much worse, and if they are, they ought to challenge Indianapolis for the first pick next year.
Thomas, first down. Inside the 25. Stopped by Mark Murphy. A 12-yard jaunt by Blair Thomas.
Well, that last little inspirational speech that Bruce Kozlik gave his team, his offensive team specifically, seems to have worked well. They're coming out with some real fire. The important thing now is not to make a mistake, not to drop the ball. When you're getting blocking like that from your guys up front, it makes Thomas's job a lot easier. The line gets you the first 3 or 4 yards. Blair does the rest.
8 carries for 32 yards for Blair Thomas. 9-10 left in the first half. Thomas again. And an excellent stick that time by Tony Bennett. And a loss of 2 on the play as we take a look at Blair Thomas.
And his production the first 4 games and the last 4 games. A lot of that, in my opinion, has to do with the turmoil at their tight end position. The tight end in a Bruce Kozlik offense has got to be a fairly good receiver, but he's got to be a real good blocker. They've had Boyer, they've had Kelly, they've had Dressel, they've had Maddox, and it seems every one of them has been down, and that turmoil has cost Blair Thomas some running yards.
2nd and 12 from the 36. This is Thomas again. And Thomas tackled again for a loss of 1 on the play. Scott Stevens leading the charge. You mentioned this Green Bay run defense as being excellent, the best in the league, and a per attempt of only 2.9 yards they're giving up.
And a great challenge one-on-one is going to be big Dwayne White, 67, working with Brian Noble there. He saw him having a few words. And it would look right now the Jets are better off with a no-nonsense running game, and that's north and south. Run that sucker straight in there. Don't try to go east and west and try to get around these Green Bay Packers. The Packers are very effective of playing the relationship to the ball and shedding blocks and making tackles.
Ball at the 37, 3rd and 13, and flags on the play.
Early motion on Brett Miller, 72, right tackle.
Ball start, number 72 offense, moving prior to the snaps, 5 yards, 3rd down.
Randy, I have not heard a report from the field as to why Brett Miller is in so long in place of Irv Eatman.
3rd and 18.
Well, I know Kozlik told us on Friday that he wanted to get a couple of his linemen, specifically Miller and Cadigan, in for about a quarter or so today. So maybe this is the situation. But like I mentioned earlier, it's a quick way to get yourself out and the experiment to end if you keep making those kinds of mistakes.
Exactly, the 4th motion coming from the Jets. incomplete intended receiver was Johnny Hector.
I mentioned just a couple plays ago, the Jets have fire, they have determination, they're running the ball well. What they can't do is make some dumb mistakes and bad decisions. Bad decisions trying to run sideways against this Packer team. Dumb mistakes jumping off sides and dropping passes.
Mikowski wasn't too long ago, as a matter of fact, against the Rams several weeks back, that he badly bruised that right shoulder of his throwing arm. Aguilar with an excellent punt. Touchback. It'll be brought out to the 20. Packers ball when we come back. 191 on hand here at Giant Stadium. Not too much to cheer about right now with 7:05 left in the first half. And as great as the Packers are on defense against the rush, they're as bad on the offense rushing.
Rushing against that kind of a defense every day in practice doesn't improve one's attitude, I'm sure. But the key here is going to be pass protection for the Packers, not running the ball.
Mikowski under pressure again, throwing to Woodside and overthrows him intentionally as the rush again finds Mikowski on the turf.
That was a coverage situation, James. That is not a situation where the blocking is not good. The blocking is fine. The guys downfield for the Jets have done a good job of covering everybody. And you see Fraze and Washington put just another little lump on Mikowski's head.
You add it all up, Mikowski only 5 of 12 for 65 yards thus far. 2nd and 10. And that is a sack. Scott Mercereau back in the game. A loss of 6 yards on the play. 2nd sack of the season for Mercereau.
Mercereau was a little slowed. You saw him go out of the game earlier with a little gimpy ankle. They obviously taped him up, and he just power rushes and bulls his way in over a fellow big guy, Hallstrom, 65. He's lined up right over here at the left defensive tackle over Hallstrom. Now he just pushes his way through there. That's a 310-pound guard he's pushing around like that, and good patience by Mercereau.
3rd and 16 from the 14.
Quarterback's nightmare.
Incomplete. Thrown in the direction of Charles Wilson. And Mikowski frustrated as well as Wilson.
Remember, folks, look at this. 2 sacks, 7 hurries, 5 knockdowns, and we're in the 2nd quarter.
And Green Bay coming into the game offensively had allowed 27 sacks, 29 now.
Mikowski's going to prove he can take a shot better than Chuck Weffner, the old heavyweight everybody used to beat up on.
McJulian. Mathis from his own 43. Slips through the hole and is hit hard by Bryce Pop. So Mathis, as he slips through the hole, is popped by Pop. 4.9 hang time. Make that 1st and 10. And Thomas with a 7-yard run up to about the 43 will bring up a 2nd and 3.
And what we've seen so far today is a Green Bay Packer team coming here emotionally up, ready to play. And we've seen a Jet team come into here very nonchalant. If they were half as fired up as these Jets fans were, they'd have 2 more touchdowns right now on the board for them. But they've been very apathetic so far in this game. They've started this drive out hot. They started the last drive out very effective and very strong. Can they sustain it?
Irv even back at right tackle. Mike Haight back in on the line as well. 2nd and 3. And a gain of 1 by Thomas. Robert Brown on the tackle.
And there's going to be some headaches tomorrow morning between the guys up front. You take the front 7 for the Packers and that front 5 offensive line for the Jets. As much button heads as they're going to do today, there's going to be some sore foreheads coming tomorrow morning.
A 3rd and 2 situation for the Jets coming up. The Jets 1 of 5 on 3rd down conversions. 4:53 left in the first half of play. Baxter, the lone back. Baxter, the ball carry. And I'm not sure. Let's see where they want to spot it. You think?
He's just short.
Brian Noble, give him credit.
Well, the crowd's letting Bruce Coslett know what they think. They think on 4th and short, go for it. And if not for the stumble, that would have been a first down. But remember, as Baxter stumbled and fell and was on the ground, all that's necessary is contact, and he's down. Take a look at this here. The sweep will be going to the right. Watch Baxter. Just gets tripped up by Brian Noble. That was a good spot by the ref.
Scott Stephen, the down Packer player, being tended to.
And from personnel on the field, it would appear that Bruce Coslett has no intention of punting this ball. He's going to go for this. And it shouldn't be a real mystery if the Jets go for first down here where they're going to run the ball. Or if it's a play action, where they're going to fake the play action at. It's going to be behind that right side with Eatman and White and Sweeney.
4th and inches.
If you get the push, you can go over the top.
First down by a whole bunch for Brad Baxter. A 6-yard bull run by Baxter.
Well, 6'1", 235, I could hope out of the backfield the guy can get some momentum moving. But more importantly, up front, Criswell and Haight on the left side of the line get some fine blocks. Make that an easy one.
First and 10 from the 35 of Green Bay. 3:23 left in the first half. Packers on top, 6-3. Play action. O'Brien going up top, looking for more. Incomplete. And Jerry Holmes with him step for step. You mentioned Jerry Holmes maybe being picked on because of his age. At 33, he can still stride.
He can run, and that was a good job by the entire defensive backfield on that play, not buying the play action fake, because O'Brien does a fine job, much like DeBerg does in Kansas City. Puts that thing out there, actually uses the ball to fake, which is unusual for a quarterback to do. That's high risk. Now watch Holmes. See, that's a touchdown for him. If you prevent 6 points, that goes to 6 in your book.
2nd and 10. O'Brien completes it to him, and he somehow holds on to the ball after being stuck awfully hard by Chuck Cecil. A 20-yard pass play, but Toon paid the price.
And that kind of a hit is the exact reason why the world is full of guys that won't go inside. You want to be a wide receiver in the league? You think you can take a hit like that, walk off the field and cheer to the crowd and high-five your friends? Listen to this. Whoa. That cracking sound is helmet to helmet, and there are some brain cells dying when that happens.
Ball at the 15, 1st and 10. Baxter. And Baxter ahead for 3. We'll bring up a 2nd and 7, tackled by Tony Bennett. Ken O'Brien, 4 of 12 for 67 yards, and all 4 passes completed to Al Toon.
I was just handed a note here, James. I got to wonder if Tim McKyer was covering John Taylor down in Atlanta today, because John Taylor and Steve Young just set a new club record, 97-yard touchdown pass against the Falcons. Niners up 7-0. He's quite outspoken, some of the stuff he decides he wants to tell people before games.
Not bashful. And meantime, we run down to the 2-minute warning here in the Meadowlands. Packers on top, 6-3.
Remind you to remain seated.
Sport. Jets with the ball at the 12 of Green Bay, 2nd and 7. Both teams with their full complement of timeouts remaining.
You see Al Toon on the sideline. He's feeling all right. You know, right here, 2nd and 7. It's kind of like a 1-and-2 pitch in baseball. It's a throwaway pitch. This is a throwaway play. Great play action down.
Baxter in motion. And it's complete to Thomas. And Thomas inside the 10 to about the 9, tackled by Mark Murphy. 3 yards picked up on the play. Will bring up a 3rd and 4.
A nice job on that play, too, by the Packer defense. As they moved Baxter in motion and brought him out to clear out that side of the defense, Murphy wouldn't buy that and kept his responsibility, made a nice play.
And Packers call timeout, leaving them with 2. They lead it by 3. Johnson, after a wicked hit a couple of plays back, is back in the game. And the Jets, impressive on this drive here. 8 plays, covering 41 yards, taking 4.5 off the clock. 3rd and 4. Ball at the 9 of Green Bay. 1:45 left in the half. And O'Brien sacked. Leading the way with Sean Patterson and Tony Bennett.
Big gamble by Green Bay. They decided the pass rush and getting after O'Brien's more important than anything else, and they prove it. Archambault getting lots of pressure. Patterson, lots of pressure. Great job. Pushes the Jets back to the end of Leahy's distance. There's plenty of time here at the end of the half. The last thing the Jets can do is right now is relax and assume they've got a lock on a tie going into the locker room. Well, Houston-Washington looks to be as good a game as they talked about, and we talked about that one. You know, if you noticed on all those scores we saw, this is not one of those scoring orgy weeks. You're not going to see a lot of 42-28 games. It would appear you get 17 points this week, you're going to win a football game.
Especially surprising in the Washington-Houston game, as high scoring as both of those teams have been all season long.
Well, people forget, kind of like the 49ers back in the 80s. That's a great defensive team, too. Both Washington and Houston have very effective defenses.
Aguiar to kick off with the Jets. And Thompson from his own 4. And Thompson run out of bounds at the 19 by Eric McMillan.
A lot of field goals in this game, and one of the good reasons these teams aren't doing much at all offensively is look what they're doing on first down. Both made the point to us Friday and yesterday. We got to get, 4 to 5 yards, 3 to 4 yards. We got to really move that ball good on first down. And so far, Bruce Coslett's Jets and Lindy and Fawnee's Packers have really been weak on first down. And a lot of that is just the yardage on first down has come on passes, not on the ground.
Packers with 1 timeout remaining with 1:32 left in the half, all tied at 6 apiece. 4 wideouts in for the Pack. And Workman on the ground. And Workman, no gain on the play. Excellent defense by the Jets, and Brian Washington specifically with the tackle.
What a surprise, a Packer running play stuffed.
Be nice, Randy.
Well, I mean, you got to throw the ball in this situation. And if you're the Jets, you got to take Sterling Sharp away.
To Workman with the pass. Still on his feet. And slips across the 25 at about the 27 as Workman was trying to head toward out of bounds. Clock continues to tick.
It would appear the Packers are just going to sort of lay down and go for one big play down the field, hoping that'll give them some sort of field position for a field goal.
They're facing a 3rd and 3 situation.
You got a quarterback in Mikowski who's been hit a lot in the head. He's getting signals from the sideline. You see that kind of look on his face like, what in the heck are you signaling in at me? Are you waving at me or are you giving me a play?
Green Bay running attack, still anemic, 7 carries for 12 yards. And complete for the first down up to the 40. As Perry Kemp trying to hurry up and get up, but the Jets won't let him up. As Green Bay burns off its last timeout with 14 seconds left in the half.
14-yard gain.
First and 10 for the Packers. 14 seconds left in the half. Ball at the 41 of Green Bay. And Mikowski throws it complete to Kemp for yet another first down. Fumble, no whistle, so the ball was recovered by the Jets.
Well, there's a review waiting to happen. You know, I got to wonder why the Packers huddled up back there. They had 50-something seconds left, and they went into a huddle.
Well, no stoppage in the action thus far, so.
Let's take another look at the very end of this. It's down. It is a catch. He's going down. No. He's down. He is down by contact.
And the Jets run the play. O'Brien going up top. A jump ball situation in the vicinity of Rob Moore. And it's caught. Touchdown, Jets. Chris Burkett.
Touchdown is a byproduct of an absolute officiating joke. They should never have had to run that play. If you're going to have instant replay, they talked about it on the NFL Today. If you're going to have instant replay, you've got to use it and use it effectively. That was not a fumble. The Packers should not have lost the ball, and the Jets should not have this touchdown.
Well, it's being reviewed upstairs, this particular play, the touchdown.
One more time. You know, you ever wonder why they call these Hail Marys? Watch this. 1 contact, 2 contacts, 3 contacts, catch by Burkett. I don't know why they're going to review that one. They should have reviewed the play before it. See the contacts. Holmes hits it. Toon hits it. He catches it and rolls in. I mean, a knee went down before he got to the goal line, but somebody's got to touch you for that to be a factor. Let's watch him again. You got Moore heading downfield. Here comes Toon and Burkett. Burkett's just in the right place at the right time. You know, I've already said it once. I'm not going to wear it out. But, yeah, I am going to wear it out. That's a joke. That should not be a touchdown. The play before, the Packers did not fumble the ball. It was down by contact, and the replay official, I think, didn't have enough time or didn't review it properly. That was not a fumble.
But the Jets will take the score nonetheless as Pat Leahy comes on for the point after. And the half ends with the Jets scoring on a Hail Mary pass, a 50-yard pass from Ken O'Brien to Chris Burkett.
First of all, let's take a look at the play 2 plays ago. Now, when exactly does this ball come out? Is it out before he gets to the ground? He's down, the ball comes out. That's referred to as down by contact. The ball should be spotted right there. It wasn't. Nobody had the guts or whatever to call it that, and as a result, here is your result. A freak play, a batted ball, whatever you want to call it, but Burkett with the concentration in this situation, which is practiced in practice. There it is, 7 points for the Jets.
And that result has the Jets in front of the Packers 13-6. We'll take you back to our NFL studios after this.